And the next thing we shall do, I'm just going to put on some coordinates. I'm going to build some coordinates into the image so we can plate solve this later. That's done quite simply. Image analysis, image solver. And what we need to do is put in the information in this box so that we're solving. It needs to know what we're actually solving. It won't work. If I run it with the default settings, it won't actually work. So I have to find the actual scientific name for what we're looking at here, which I think is IC13. Hang on. IC1396 is the image. So in the object identifier, we just type IC1396. Click on the search button, and there it is there. Click OK. And then in settings, we'll just try this, 500, pixel size 1, click OK. What this will do is, now, if it can solve the image, what it will do is it will build coordinates into the image of what we're actually looking at. So, you know, like, so it can identify what we're looking at on the screen if we decide to annotate the image later, as I showed in a previous video. So we'll just let this run for a bit. And yeah, it solved the image. I can tell that because it's showing me this information here. If it doesn't show this information, this dx and dy stuff, all this stuff here, then the solving process is going to fail, but it's got it. So we just have to wait now until it's finished. And this is just running through the iterations on the, you know, adding the information in. It's finding the best things to look at. And it's nearly done. So that's cool. It's got it. Created a couple of other images here, which we don't need to worry about. And delete. Right, that's done. So I'm going to delete this picture here. I don't need that. And we don't need the stars. I mean, okay, stars, right? Just stretch on that. You'll see the stars that it's detected during that process. Quite a lot. And shut that down. Now we've got image coordinates built in. If I go to script here, I think it's under image analysis. Nope, under there, utilities. Yeah, WCS header. You can see under the WCS header, this is what's built into this image now. It's got the actual right ascension and declination information for the image. So that's cool. And we'll save that again. I like to save often because there's nothing more painful if it crashes and we lose everything, obviously up to the point of our last save. So I do save quite often. Another way of doing it is to save every couple of processes and name it in a way that you know where you got to. But I found that you don't really go back, so it doesn't matter. So that's the image. What have we done? We've color corrected, background neutralization, cropped it, banding reduction, and we've added coordinates. Next job we need to do will be to remove some noise, if there is any noise in that image. But so what we'll do is we need to apply a mask to remove the noise. It's going to be quite tricky with this image because it's all quite busy in here. It's, you know, we need to find an area when we do that that's got no stars in it. It's going to be quite hard to do, I think. But anyway, let's go ahead and try and make a mask for this. We click this button here, which extracts a black and white image. And what we need to do, this image at the moment is linear, which means this mask that we've got at this point is also linear, but we need to make this mask non-linear so we can apply it to the linear image. And we do that by running screen transfer function and histogram transformation. Like this, click the tick box here and make sure it says drizzle integration with the L at the end. That means we're looking at the right image. And then click this nuclear button. That will put a stretch on. Drag the triangle at the bottom of the screen transfer function over the bottom of this window here. And then we turn on the real-time preview. You can see it's gone white. It's because the thing's been stretched twice. So we remove that first stretch by clicking that reset button, shut down screen transfer function, and then want to try and work on this black and white image a little bit to try and make it a bit more obvious what we're masking. And hopefully you'll see what I mean. When I start moving these sliders here, you'll see what I'm talking about. If I drop that slider down there, the whole idea that is whatever is black is masked and whatever is white is masked. But the tricky part here is this detail that we want to keep around here is also, you've got to be careful what you're masking. So I'm just going to move that slider there just to bring that up a bit, and then move this slider here back a bit. Hopefully that will do as a mask. And what we do, shut down is the real-time preview on the histogram transformation, and then drag that triangle at the bottom over the top of drizzle integration. Shut down histogram transformation. And then to apply the mask, you drag that tab over the side there like that. And minimize your mask. Now with masks in PixInsight, whatever is red is protected, whatever isn't red isn't protected. So if I was to invert this mask, you'll see in this situation, all the stuff we want is a brighter red, and that's what we're masking. So we first turn off the mask. Sorry, we're not turning it off, we're not removing it, we're just not showing it anymore. And then we'll go and use multi-scale linear transform. And we need to put some, and we'll bring up the real-time preview. Now this gets a little bit heavy now on what we're actually doing, but we'll bring up the real-time preview. And then we'll start applying noise reduction to the image. So I'm just going to go down here and I'm going to tick each one of these boxes on layer 1, 2, 3. And you can see the spinny thing here. That's processing. We've got to wait for that to finish spinning, because it's actually applying these values to the preview, not to our main image yet. But this is probably going to be too much. We're going to have to adjust these. Right, that's finished on the real-time preview. So let's turn it off. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work very well with this. I'm just going to turn that real-time preview off. I'm going to grab with the preview this area here, and then put the real-time preview back on. Now we'll just be looking at that area that I've caught with the preview window, and you can see how nasty it looks. it's gone horrible. Stars have gone funny. Look, if I turn it off and on, it's just made it too blurry. So we need to make an adjustment. Just here. And we're going to wind this down. We'll leave that at 3. Turn the amount down to 30%. Put 3 iterations on there. And then turn this threshold down to 2. Amount again 30%. 2 iterations. And on this last one, we'll turn this down to 1. 30% again. In just 1 iteration. Now it's processing to try and find what it looks like. Come on, hurry up and finish spinning, and we can flick backwards and forwards and make sure it's actually making a difference. Oh, this is taking a while, isn't it? Wow. Obviously having a good old think about what it's doing here. Right, okay. That's stopped. Now we're going to turn this on and off. You can see it's dulled out the noise quite nicely, actually. So what we'll do is we'll apply these settings to our main image just there. Okay, so that's now applied noise reduction to our image. And one last thing we're going to do is we're going to apply multiscale linear transform to the chrominance of the image. And we're going to put this on 7 layers and just turn on default noise reduction for all of those first 4 layers. And take a look at the preview again. Always try and use your previews, because in theory it takes less time using the preview. Just to check. But, you know, when you use your real-time preview on a preview window, then you can just mess around and you know, make subtle changes, and it doesn't take a long time in theory to do the process. Right, so that's finished processing that. It's starting to look a little bit cleaner. You gotta love skip frames, eh? Right. I'm gonna remove this mask now. We don't need a mask on there anymore. Because what we're gonna do is I'm going to turn this linear image now into a non-linear image, which is done by putting a proper stretch on it. So we go processes, screen transfer function, and histogram transformation. Click the tick box. Actually, I'm going to just reset that like that. Reset that like that. Apply a stretch to the image. Click on our real-time preview. Drag this little triangle over here. And it'll go white. Good. Shut down that first stretch. Shut down that. And you can see going on here. The colours are slightly out in the histogram transformation window. I'm just going to scroll this back here so we can see a bit more of what's going on. It's slightly out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and line up the red, green and blue here. So we get a better colour. We're just going to give that a shot. The first thing I'm going to move is the red. I have to scroll back in now on this image to get the slider arrow, and I'm going to move that red back into there. That. And then I'm going to get hold of the green. And we're going to move the green back. And the blue needs to come forwards very slightly. Like that. That's basically what we've done there. The red, green and blue are in balance. Now we go back to the RGBK of the image, scroll out again so we can see what's going on here. And what I'm going to do is move these sliders around to make this look a little bit more make this look less blown out. First thing we need to do is move that one up there so we're not clipping pixels. Where it was back here, you can see if we move it back it starts clipping. And there's a number down here which shows how many pixels are being clipped and the percentage. So we need to move this back. If I put it back all the way over here, it'll go totally, well, close to white. Well, that's no good. We keep moving this until we see a movement. It's okay there. And then adjust this center arrow backwards. What we're doing here is balancing the contrast of the image. You have to be quite careful what you're doing here. Obviously, we don't want it blown out like that. We're trying to get it to look as nice as we can for our eyes. I'm going to leave it at that point there. And then we drag the triangle down the bottom of the Histogram Transformation window. This triangle here. I'm going to drag that over this window. Actually, let's just remove that preview. We don't need that. We're going to drag this triangle over this image, and what that will do is it will stretch this image, turn it from a linear into a non-linear image. And there we go. And shut down Histogram Transformation. And save it. Everything up to this point was pretty much standard operations. Everything after this point is when we make it look kind of nice for our eyes. Do we want to see all these stars? Do we want to just see this part of the image? What do we want to see? Because the problem is when you're working on an image like this, you've got all these stars and you have to be so careful not to blow the stars out when you're actually doing the processing.